Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our regular divisional betting update call in Major League Baseball that we do every week with Doug Upstone. Today is Friday, August 1st, and right now we're going to take a look at the divisions in the American League. We're going to start with the AL East. Doug Upstone, thanks for being back with us.
Peter, my pleasure to be back here once again. Here we are now to August, which also means something else, football. So I snuck in a football hat up above me here. So we know that that's coming along. But today our concentration will be on baseball.
All right, for sure. We're also right after the trade deadline in baseball, and that did impact a couple teams in the AL East pretty significantly. Let's start with the forecast from our last call. You had two great calls. You said bet against Boston, and they did go 8-9 since our last call, but they were very overvalued, so their ROI was minus 9%. You also said bet on Baltimore, and of course Baltimore has been absolutely surging. They were 11-6 since our last video, plus 39% ROI. The one you missed, though, was you suggested bet against Tampa Bay, and of course Tampa Bay has been doing very well since the All-Star break, and they actually went 11-3 since our last call for an ROI of plus 37%. But overall, you gave us great forecasts from the AL East in our last call. Let's start with Tampa Bay, though. You know, they were by far the worst team in all of baseball for most of the first half. But I read at a couple of sabermetric sites they were expecting a lot better things from Tampa Bay in the second half, and that's certainly come to pass. You think Tampa Bay is now a bet-on team?
I'm not sure, and I would say yes, but this trade yesterday kind of threw me off a little bit. You know,
right.
I mean, they've really made up a lot of ground. They've cut their deficit basically in half by going 22-7, picked up 14 units since June 25th. The thing with losing David Price, though, that's a concern because he's actually their best player, and so with him out, that changes the whole rotation of their pitching staff, and it seemingly, to me at least, they fed off his energy and what he was able to do. Now, the offense certainly picked up. I'm not saying that they're a play against team, but this has really been a tremendous stretch from them. I just wonder if they can keep it going now without David Price. That to me is the biggest concern.
All right, well, let's get to Baltimore now. And Baltimore, of course, again, was a great bet since our last video, and you were absolutely dead on that one. You recommended betting them. They're now number one in all of baseball in terms of the money standings on the year, plus 15.5% ROI, and that is just a great record. No other team is even in positive double digits. They added reliever Andrew Miller. Do you think that they continue to be at least a little bit valuable in the upcoming weeks?
I do. I like this team. I was really impressed with not this homestand, but their last road trip, Peter, when they went 6-4, and they could have easily gone 8-2, except for two bullpen failures. So adding Miller, seemingly would be a benefit to them. Their offense has really come around. They're up to 9th overall now in runs scored, and they're as of today, they're second in home runs in the big leagues. So they're playing very good baseball, and very similar to, like you mentioned, with Tampa Bay. Joe Madden was important to that team in terms of manager, and I think Buck Showalter's the same deal here with Baltimore. I think this team is still the team to beat in the East, and I like them. And I really like the fact that when they're in the role of an underdog, they're plus 17 units. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. And one other little secret factor leading into this weekend, Peter. Not everybody knows this. At Camden Yards, the Orioles are 34-16 under.
Yeah. Absolutely, and in fact, they were phenomenally profitable since our last call, but it's all been due to the pitching because they were 4-12 over/under since our last video. I'm not exactly sure what to make right now of their extreme home under trend, but one call in the AL East that we kind of both missed a little bit is Toronto. Toronto was the best team in all of baseball to bet on since our last call, plus 42% ROI. Does that continue? Probably not, but do they continue to be profitable? I think you got to think so, right?
I definitely think so. And the weird thing is, how confidence plays into anything to do in sports, and I guess you could even say in life for that matter. They had lost 17 in a row to the Yankees, and then a week ago last Saturday, they finally got the monkey off their back. They beat them, and then they have two mediocre teams to play in Houston and Boston this week, and they're taking care of business. So they found their groove. They're on a nice roll. The pitching has kind of stabilized a little bit. Their bats have come back. Not good news that Encarnacion is not going to be around for a little bit yet, but they're playing good baseball. So yes, I definitely think this is still a team to look for, to bet on.
All right, and then let's just talk about Boston for a second. It was kind of a funny year for Boston. First of all, they've been a terrible bet on the year, right? They're 29th in baseball in the money standings, second worst team to bet on in all of baseball, minus 17.5% ROI. They've also been a big undertrender in general and at home, which is kind of surprising because they play in, they're usually at least a small overtrender at home. And, with the trade deadline, they gave away a lot of pitching, got some big hitting, so, maybe they figured to be an overtrender in the future. Not exactly sure. They lose Lester, lose Lackey, but they gain Cespedes and Alan Craig. What do you make of Boston in the near future? Do you think it's a wait-and-see situation?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's that. I would still look to play against Boston.
Okay.
That's a lot of pitching to lose, with those two guys. And the other thing, too, I look at the heart of their team, like, a David Ortiz and some of these guys. I mean, here they were last year, the best team in baseball, on their way to a world championship. Now they're in last place. What are they really looking to play for? And with these trades I've done, they're looking towards 2015. So that being the case, so I don't think this team is in very good shape. They're 18-30 in division play, and of course they're going to have a number of division games. I think the ghost is up on Boston. I think they're going to finish in last place, finish somewhere around 70 to 75 wins, and that's going to be it for them.
All right, well, the AL East, a very interesting division. Now let's get to the forecast for the upcoming weeks. A lot of ways we could go here, right? Baltimore, Toronto, and Tampa Bay have all been phenomenally profitable in recent weeks since our last call. All of them at least plus 35% ROI, which is a huge number. Boston, not sure what to make of them. They've been losing. The big trades kind of shuffle up their team. What do you have? What would you recommend for the next few weeks that we look at in the AL East?
Next few weeks, Peter, I would still look at Baltimore. Again, not hugely profitable. I would say the same with Toronto. Look to play on them. Just pick your spots. I would look to, generally speaking, play against Boston. They will have some hot streaks here and there, but like any team will. So I would generally look to play against them. And Tampa Bay, I'm off Tampa Bay right now until I see some information that changes my thought process at this moment.
So basically more of the same from the AL East. You say bet against Boston, bet on Baltimore, and bet on Toronto for our forecast for the next few weeks.
Exactly, Peter.
All right, Doug Upstone. Sounds good to me. Thanks.